maybe that was saving me from.
Recording is on.
Okay.
Okay, maybe the recording's back on again. Damn. Okay, so here's a very, very unpopular view, but it's basically it's white people. You see, what I think happened was that we crossbred with Neanderthals, and basically the people from Africa crossbred with Neanderthals. And what we kind of got the worst of both, but we have a divided self because of that. It's kind of like, you know, we have autoimmune deficiency, autoimmune diseases. Our immune system, you know, fights against itself. Type 2 diabetes. All of these things are really a divided organism, an organism that has a conflict in identity, and that I think that also goes through to psychology. So we have a kind of autoimmune psychology too. And part of that is a kind of heightened self-awareness and introspection. Now, you're on dangerous grounds from a political correctness point of view. But I challenge anybody to look at the San people or the Piraha people and say that they are as conflicted as white people. They're not neurotic. And not culturally, genetically.
I don't necessarily mean conflicted in the ordinary psychological sense. I just mean simply the awareness that we know that we know.
That knowing we know is almost a divided self, and which I think
you're saying
it's
basically the same thing.
Yeah, the reason white people have a heightened sense of this, is really we're two species that are different enough to be able to perceive each other. If we were more unified, you know, basically we wouldn't have this internal self-reflection.
So you are Piraha supremacist.
Piraha supremacist.
Yes, I can't get over my racism because basically not all races have this, and no one wants to see it.
No.
It's a peculiar thing to basically people that have Neanderthal Cro-Magnon hybridization. So anyway, it's just my theory, but I think that's the problem, the root problem that no one will face is it's white people. It's white people problem.
I've heard that before.
well, no, but I mean the thing is though, is everybody takes it for granted that civilization is good. You can't criticize it.
It's what you called in the earlier writing the Aryan, really, because when you look, this awareness goes into the Indian subcontinent as well, which is not strictly white, I guess, but the migrations came from that Aryan initial race.
I'm going to call them in the next chapter, but
okay.
If you're politically correct, the Aryans are Proto-Indo-Europeans.
Yeah,
I mean, Proto-Indo-Iranians, and that's just one branch. That when they get to India, they start calling themselves Aryans.
Yeah.
So Aryan, the word Iran is really Aryan. It is Aryan. It's basically that's where the word around it. But you're supposed to say that the guys who came from Persia and went to the Indus Valley are Aryans, but don't say that because otherwise everybody's going to get white supremacists. So you've got to say that
you've got to use something different.
They Proto-Indo-Europeans when they in Anatolia. By the time they go east, then they called Proto-Iranians. But it's all bullshit that's trying to avoid, the Nazi.
Just triggering
the Nazi thing about Aryans. But they're all Aryans. Yeah. They're all Aryans. Even the guys that go west into the Balkans, the Armenians, that R sound is the key. So the Aryan means of noble birth. That's how you're supposed to translate it.
Oh.
I think what people are missing is that R sound of Aryan is noble because the guys are solar worshippers and it refers to the sun. R is the sun. They're noble the same reason as, Hirohito in the Japanese emperor is noble. He's a prince of the sun. He's a descendant of the solar disk. and they also have that philosophy that maybe the, you know, Shintoism in Japan came from that. But that's the R sound is so they're saying they're children of the sun. That's what they're saying. So if they're Aryans, they're children of the sun.
Well, that makes me think of somebody, I can't remember who posted on Reddit that story about one of the Andaman Islands that's east of India there, and that those people got rid of missionaries, are completely left alone by the Indians, because actually the population of these islands came directly from Africa, and they're completely different to all the populations around that part of South Asia. It's just made me think of those funny islands. They're absolutely not known. They don't want visitors. They live in apparently a total isolation. Yeah,
Thank goodness.
You're afraid of them.
Yeah, you get heavily prosecuted if you go near them. But you know, they shoot arrows and stuff at helicopters and bludgeon people on the beaches and stuff. And good for them. I'm sure there's no cases of COVID on any one of them.
I like them for some reason.
I'm glad to think there are some isolates out there. There need to be some isolates. And there again, getting back to this point in the Desiderata, I'm not so sure that this connection thing is good. I think basically we need disconnection. Is very basically we need heterogeneity. So somewhere buried in the syrupy, you know, compassionate, lovey-dovey shit, and connectivity is a devious idea, and that's basically smothering heterogeneity. And one of the reasons why we're suffering this pandemic is because we don't have enough heterogeneity. It's one of nature's ways of telling you, you're too homogeneous.
Yeah, but connection could have another meaning in that context. I was thinking more like the disconnect existing among the mainly Western and so-called civilized people with their natural environments, with plants, with trees, with animals, with fish, with insects. I saw the connection there that was lacking, and that had to be explored, you know, and I didn't think of the connection in the terms you were saying.
Yeah. I like that kind of connection, but you see that there again we come up against the thing is like one of the reasons why we're trying to decouple from nature. You know, economists are all about decoupling. And why we're trying to decouple from nature is because we're scared of corruption and mess and risk and disorder and chaos of nature. So nature's yucky, and so it's kind of a clinical thing. So it's basically it represents death to us, and so it's part of the reason we want to separate from nature is because we're trying to separate from the big monster that's going to kill us and force death on us. But the other reason why we're trying to disconnect from nature is because we kind of feel this guilt that this primordial guilt that we don't really have much use to nature, much part in nature. We might be superfluous. So we're trying to, like, you know, saying it's kind of sour grapes. Is like, you know, if I'm not invited to this party, then I'm going to like stop the party or rule the party or overrule the party. Okay. And there's an element of that to it. So anything that smacks of, but disconnection, connection there, I'm just trying to say is complex. But overall, don't get to the all join hands and we can be an amorphous, homogeneous, monocultural blob, because that's just a gift to a virus. We're going to go extinct in a heartbeat, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Well, did that exhaust the topic? I think it did.
Oh, it's a lot. Is that enough for one night, or you know?
Yeah.
It's a lot of
plenty.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll have to do 2 parts, but yeah.
So we still got to get on to the next one.
Yes.
Don't defile the sacred.
All right. Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Hugh.
Thank you, and thank you for the stories.
Yeah, well,
I'm glad you liked it.
thanks for getting up so early, Gary. It's nice to have you. Nice to have you.
Yeah, no, I said thanks to Mike too, because he had to get up early. I've got to stay up late, so you know. Yeah.
And Mike,
But
thank
all that will be fixed after the big flip. It'll all be. We won't have a problem anymore.
It's a big-
Okay. Right.
Well, nice
Okay.
to see you guys. Take care of yourself.
Okay.
Enjoy the week.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
See you next Sunday,
Bye.
hopefully.
Bye.
Cheers.
Okay.
Take care.